We're on the west side of Atlanta, and this side of town is pretty much unrecognizable. I am talking about exponential growth. And a company that now calls the west side its home is this one, Flock Safety. You want to talk about exponential growth, it is now valued at $3.5 billion. And today we're going to introduce you to the company and the founder, so let's roll that show open and let's go. Lucie, the name means light. The majority of our team has worked in newsrooms throughout the country. We've seen the negatives. At Lucie, we explore the positives. And through this video series, we spotlight them. People, places, businesses, nonprofits, you name it. Storytelling is at the heart of our company, and we know sharing a story makes connections. It's simple, short, informative, and empowering. Take 10 minutes and let's go. Hey everybody, Craig Lucie here, and thanks so much for joining us for the inaugural Lucie Spotlight. And the first one is pretty special. I'm joined here by Garrett Langley, the founder and CEO of Flock Safety. We're here in Flock Safety headquarters. It's awesome to see you again.
Likewise, it's been a few years.
So let's go back to 2017. I was, in my previous life, an anchor reporter over at WSB. There had been a crime occurred in Peachtree Park, and you were touting your Flock Safety cameras. I could sense your passion. You were so thrilled about this. I thought, these things are awesome. We're probably gonna be doing a lot of stories. What kind of happened after that moment?
So if you go all the way back, like we started the company with the mission of eliminating crime, right? So most security products, whether it's a dog, it's ADT, it's Ring, they're great. All they do is tell you a crime happened. They don't actually lead to an arrest. And so that was like the, let's go build products to do that. And back then, it was near the end of 2017, I think it was like around Christmas time.
Yeah, you guys
Christmas
were
or Thanksgiving. We were maybe a 3-month-old company. We had 6 neighborhoods in totality.
Okay.
And this was the second ever crime we helped with.
2017 it starts. Where did the idea even come from? Because you were a victim of crime, and that kind of spawned this, correct?
Yeah, I mean, so like a lot of us in Atlanta, there's a lot of crime.
Yes.
And there's an interesting experience where earlier in Peachtree Park, we had a similar type of situation. All these homes got broken into, all these cars got broken into, and the major at the time who oversaw our zone just kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, I'm really sorry, but there's nothing we can do. I was like, well, really? Like, it seems highly unlikely that 100 cars get broken into and there's no evidence. And everyone had grainy pictures of people's faces and Nest video footage and Ring footage, and the major said, look, I need something that's actionable, something I can literally go put to work. And so I said, well, what is that? He said, oh, it's a license plate reader. I said, great, where do you buy those? And he said, oh, guess what? We sell them for $33,000 a pop. Jeez. And you know, Peachtree Park, there's 7 egress points. That's almost $250,000. That's $250,000 is a lot of money.
Right.
For something that doesn't seem like it should cost more than an iPhone.
Correct.
So I called a buddy of mine and said, let's go buy some old Androids, because we knew how to write Android.
Matt at Georgia Tech?
Yep.
Okay.
So called Matt and was like, you know how to write Android apps. I know how to do circuits. Let's just go get some old Android phones, stick them together in waterproof boxes, and like read license plates. It cannot be that hard. And it was really around that first crime in DeKalb County and the second crime at APD, where it's like, no, look, the same major who 100 days ago said, I can't do anything, now cleared a case or solved the case same day. So it was like, that was the light bulb, like, this is no longer a side project, this is a real business, like,
this is legit.
We gotta go all in, like, we gotta stop everything else we're toying with and just commit ourselves to this product.
You had already committed yourself with several other startups prior.
I was an 18-year-old who knew how to write some code, was super excited about technology, had never even knew that it was a career path to start companies. And so I joined this 3-person company, just him and his co-founder and then me, and wound up selling the company 2 years later to Qualcomm. But so we did it again in the sports industry. That first company was in financial services. This next company was in the sports industry. That company did really, really well. We wound up selling it to Cox Enterprises, a great family company here in Atlanta.
You started with 7 employees back in 2017. Where are we now? How many?
About 550.
550. And how is that running a company of 550 employees?
So it's a weird experience, right? Because we had maybe 40 or 50 when COVID started. And that was already feeling weird, right? Because every day the office was full, it was busy. Yeah. And then the other 500 people have come in since COVID.
Wow.
And we had always had a fairly remote focused on you need to live where the customers are. And so we've been pretty separated. But when COVID hit, it was like no one's even going to the office. And it's just weird because there was a team meeting upstairs earlier today, and I walk in and I'm like, I don't know any of you.
Really?
Like I've never met any of you.
Yeah.
This is a really weird experience. I'm like, maybe I've seen your face on Zoom, or maybe like, I saw you in an updated email. I was like, wow, I've never spent time with you. So we did a company retreat at the beginning of this year, which was really fun. So did all these teams that email and Slack and Zoom, but had never spent time together, and they finally got to spend a bunch of time together.
Now I want to take everybody to like the research area. Can we go check that out?
Let's go check it out.
All right, let's do it. We're walking into the original Flock safety.
Original Flock HQ. So fun story.
Yeah.
Probably wondering like, why do you have so many license plates on the wall? When we were only solving a crime a month, a crime a week, it was a tradition that if it was one of your accounts, you got to hang a replica license plate of the person that was arrested. And it was this huge company tradition that like every Friday we would hang whatever license plates we could. And I swear for a while, like we must have been funding someone's Etsy shop because these we get on Etsy. And so obviously now it would be quite a lot.
The entire headquarters would be filled.
Would be filled. It's like
science.
This is about as messy as it gets, but that's good. There's people actually working. What's happening in here is one of two things. They're either developing the next version of the camera, or they're getting units back from the field, trying to understand what's breaking. So think about something like Apple. They produce over 1 million phones a year. Even a 0.1% or 0.01% failure rate means tens of thousands of devices that are breaking. So this team is that team that's responsible for trying to take it from maybe 99.9% to 99.99% efficacy in the field.
You're a Georgia Tech guy.
Georgia Tech EE.
There you go.
Yeah.
So are you pulling a lot of talent out of Georgia Tech? I mean, this seems like right up Georgia Tech's alley right here.
I think for our first 50 employees, probably 49 of them were Georgia Tech grads. We recruit really heavily out of Georgia Tech. It's a great partnership.
And all over Atlanta now, all over Georgia and the country.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of folks that are going to be watching this. They want to become entrepreneurs. What kind of advice would you give them knowing that you've been able to start, exit, and now you're leading a company that's with a big B?
Yeah, so I think the thing that I always thought about is you either got to pick the market or the team. Pick the team. Good teams find good problems, build big companies. But you got to be able to move and you got to be able to have a lot of trust. And so for me, like when I started Flock, I knew I wanted to call Paige and I wanted to call Matt. And those are the two people that I wanted to build a company with.
Where did the name Flock come from?
The thought process was that if you think about the animal kingdom, smaller animals have one way to protect themselves. They work together. It's a school of fish, it's a flock of birds. But we as humans have all of these security solutions that focus just on us. But I don't know about you, but for me, if my neighbor's home get broken into, I'm still kind of scared. Like I see the blue lights flashing outside my window, but everything I'm able to buy is just about my house. But in reality, my personal space, my comfort space is quite larger than just my home. So this idea that as a community, we needed to work together as a city, as a state, as a country, we need to think about it bigger than just ourselves.
Let's talk about the evolution of y'all's technology that you've been able to develop. Tell us about Raven and exactly what it does.
Our product roadmap is really simple. Show us a list of crimes that happens in a city. That's our roadmap. So we want to eliminate all crime. We said, well, man, that Amazon Alexa seems like a pretty smart microphone. It can tell the difference between me and the TV. It can tell the difference between my voice versus someone else's voice. What if we took that same core technology and moved it towards things like gunshots or glass breaking? We have this new device, it's called Raven. It's about the size of a hockey puck, small Pringles can, and they can listen to just those things. We don't listen to people's voices, it's that kind of stuff, just loud noises. But what we can do is that gunshot goes off, the glass breaks, we pinpoint that down to, let's call it 10 or 20 feet. We send that notification to 911 immediately. We want to get officers on the scene, but they also can then tap into our cameras and say, well, hey, what cars just left this area? We average more than 1,000 crimes solved a day.
That is incredible.
So it's about almost 5% of all arrests daily happen because of Flock's technology.
Garrett, congrats, man.
Thank you
Thanks
so
much for
Craig.
having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for being part of the inaugural Lucie Spotlight series. This is fantastic. We appreciate the tour, and we can't wait to hear what's next.
Appreciate it.
Our mission is simple: create your news. When we create it, we hope to spotlight your purpose. Life's too short to be stuck in a world that becomes stale. What is your purpose? Are you living it? If you're not, the time is now. Thanks for listening and watching. Carpe diem.